Out concert to 30,000 people the day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All In Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports.
In the morning, she's 7 o'clock in the morning.
Just lay down.
Now.
It's 7 a.m.
It's 7 a.m. Time for the opening drive.
Voted the best sports show in New Mexico
for 5 years running. It's the OD and the AM with Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bob.
All gas, no brakes. That team in Detroit, they can be down defensive starters. They're still going to be nipping at your kneecaps. And they got it done. They had, quote-unquote, nothing to play for last night. Don't tell them that. And Brock Purdy also playing for a contract, but the elbow, what does that mean in the offseason? But the focus is on a winner-take-all game. Sunday Night Football, Minnesota at Detroit. 2 14-2 teams going for the North, going for the number one seed in the NFC. And you best believe, you look at that game last night, it's a shootout. That's who the Lions are now through the injuries. And when you play like that, when you become a team that has 5 games of 40-plus points and no turnovers, even with some of the defensive deficiencies, the Lions are still roaring. And you look at this NFC, and you go, all right, who can keep pace? Well, the Vikings feel they're the teams not only keep pace, but knock off the Lions on Sunday Night Football, even though they have to go on the road. But you're looking at a Detroit team that if you let them get comfortable early, it's going to be a long night. How you feeling about the playoff scenarios heading into Week 16? So much is decided, but still intrigue on the line. The NFC North, the number one seed in the NFC. Heck, you look at the NFC South. It's Tampa Bay or it's the Atlanta Falcons. The rest is decided. The AFC, it's positioning 5, 6, and then who's going to be number 7? The Denver Broncos, Miami Dolphins, Cincinnati Bengals. The talk of Joe Burrow climbing that ladder into the MVP discussion. Can he get votes over Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. It feels like a two-horse race between Allen and Jackson for MVP, with Burrow and Barkley getting votes and maybe some sprinkled in for Jared Goff and Sam Darnold for being quarterbacks on 14-win teams. But here we are. What it do last day of 2024, and so much to cover. NFC, AFC playoff rundowns. The game last night, Detroit with nothing to play for, but everything to play for because that's who they are, led by Dan Campbell and that man, Jared Goff. We have a little bit of basketball tonight. The men in Fresno trying to continue their run. The last two games, you go to VCU before Christmas. You go to that game at Colorado State, full 40 minutes from the Lobos. Can they keep it going in Fresno? These are tough situations, man. You go into a big, empty gym, the energy, you got to bring them. We'll talk with Kenny Thomas, the Lobo legend, coming up at 9 a.m. about New Mexico's performance at Colorado State and how they have to take advantage of this opening stretch. This schedule is in the Lobos' favor to open up conference play. Just stack those wins, and then everyone is looking at January 11th when San Diego State comes to town. 505-246-0610 is the Sports Animal hotline and text line this morning. JJ Buck, Zay Johnson with you. Zay, you watching Monday Night Football last night, and there was that question going in, what are the lines going to look like, knowing that everything is on the line next weekend? But what we saw is a team that they get rolling, and that's 5 games with 40 or more points this season. That is ridiculously impressive. How are you feeling about where the Lions are right now going into that game hosting Minnesota Sunday Night Football?
I like Detroit's chances. I think Detroit has a formula that works, especially against a team like the Vikings. You know, you can run the ball, keep that offense off the field. I think that's going to be the number one goal for Detroit. And we just saw last night that Jahmyr Gibbs, you know, although it may not be the same as, you know, your hammer and your Swiss knife with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, I think he can get the job done. I think Detroit, even with the injuries, we saw when Hutchinson went down early this season, they didn't really miss a step. Now we're seeing it take a toll a little bit, but, you know, I think that explains why Brock Purdy, 377 yards, 34 points to 49ers. I didn't see 34 points coming out of them at all. That wasn't on my bingo card. So Detroit just, you know, their defense is an issue, especially with the way the Vikings offense is playing. But I think you got to run that ball, control the clock, keep them off the field, get them out of rhythm.
Yeah, it's going to be a different defensive test against Minnesota. But you look at what Detroit has done this season with those injuries on defense. They had 6 starters that are no longer there this season, multiple dudes that did suffer season-ending injuries. They went 8-0 on the road. 8-0 on the road for a team we just think about, oh, they have to be at home. Now, were those situations in the snow in Lambeau? Not necessarily, but you're 8-0 on the road. You're 14-2. We don't have any more question marks about Jared Goff. We've gotten past that point with him believing the kind of quarterback that he can be, and he thrives under pressure. Yeah, they were trailing last night 21-13. That's kind of who they are. And you bring up them having to control the game. I think that actually is going to be tougher against Minnesota with just Gibbs, even with as explosive as he is. But it's almost one of those things like the Lions are so explosive, they don't necessarily keep their defense off the field just because they can score so fast. And you saw that in the second half, and it's thriving under pressure. And you look at Jared Goff last night. So all 3 of his touchdowns were on either 3rd or 4th down. And think about the aggressiveness of Detroit. How sometimes it's been viewed as a negative, and that's what happens. When you take chances, it doesn't work out. You question those ones a lot more. But this is who this team is. This is who Dan Campbell is. They're aggressive. They know it. They buy into it. So this season, Jared Goff, 17 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on 3rd and 4th down throws.
Wow. That's an efficient offense right there.
Like, and that is under pressure. You know, 3rd down, 4th down, chance to turn the ball over right there if you don't make a play, and they make plays. They're bought in. So even with the deficiencies, they are still the most explosive team in the NFC. And there's good offenses, man. Yes, Philadelphia, Saquon Barkley. You saw what they can do throughout the season. and Jalen Hurts on track to be good to go for the postseason. The question this week is if they're going to let Saquon Barkley try to get 101 yards or not in Week 18. We've seen Baker Mayfield, the touchdown maker. We know Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, some of the explosiveness there. We watched Sam Darnold this entire season with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Like, there's some really good offenses. Oh, don't forget Jaden Daniels and what he's done in the last 2 second halves to get the Washington Commanders to 11 wins and into the postseason. But the Lions last night in the shootout game, it's the mindset you look at. And that's what you want to have from your team, even with nothing on the line. And all the talk, right, was from a fantasy perspective, everyone's like, oh, no, you got to go pick up the backups if you're relying on Jared Goff or Gibbs or St. Brown. Oh, those dudes performed. And now you have an offense, too, that we've watched the emergence of Jameson Williams. It's been a quiet year for Sam Laporta, but you know he's there to catch touchdowns and make plays. Gibbs, given the full number one role, like the Lions have the most explosive offense in the NFC. They do. And if you let them get going, it's going to be hard to keep pace with them. So even with all the injuries, that's why you look at this team, all gas, no brakes, but you still buy in. Because we're at the point in time in the conversation of quarterbacks where you need to trust Jared Goff. You need to believe that these dudes can get it done. And they get the home game against Minnesota. And you go back to Week 7 in Minnesota, and it was a 31-29 win for the Lions. So I'm expecting the same thing. A game where there's explosive plays. A game that goes down to the very end. And it sets up beautifully for the NFL to showcase these two teams for the number one seed in the NFC on Sunday Night Football. So who do you believe in? The Lions or Vikings? Now, you still believe in either team going forward, but the difference is first round bye, home field advantage versus the number 5 seed and then having to go on the road. Mm-hmm. Now, we don't talk about it a lot because when you look at this, you know, this is really an extreme to have two teams that are 14-2.
Yeah.
But I will say, how do you feel about division winners being guaranteed a home playoff game? Do you think that they could maybe go to the NBA model where, yeah, the NBA still does have divisions, even though no one talks about it.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Where you get a playoff spot, but you're not guaranteed a home game.
I think I like the winner of the division. I like them having a first round bye.
So that you're good with the top 4 seeds being division winners, being the teams that host the playoff game.
Yeah, but then I guess I'm just looking at it from an NFC North perspective because then, you know, when I look at the top 3 teams in that division, I do feel like whoever, you know, is second in that division, they deserve better than dropping straight down to the 5 seed if you have a far better record than say there's a 9-7 team that wins their division. So it does get a little tricky when you look at the teams under, but I guess record should maybe have a factor. I think maybe you should just go off a total record and figure out another incentive for winning your division. Yeah, the Detroit and even Green Bay, I mean, like with them being third in the division and then still possibly going to have 11 wins, like that's absurd.
Yeah, Green Bay could be essentially a 12-win team and be the 7th seed.
Yeah.
But that's life, right? Get it done.
Exactly.
And they're getting it done in the NFC North. The Lions last night victorious 40-34 on Monday Night Football over the 49ers. Goff goes for 303, 3 touchdowns. Gibbs rushes for 117 yards and 18 carries, finds the end zone. Jameson Williams does his thing, 577, 1 touchdown, 664 touchdown for Sam Laporta, 860 a touchdown from Amon-Ra St. Brown. The explosiveness, we got it. It's locked in. But now the question turns to the future for a lot of these teams and the elbow of Brock Purdy. How is that going to affect the offseason conversation? Depends on how serious it is. If you remember, Purdy did have a UCL injury a couple years ago. It was that game where they didn't have a quarterback left in the playoffs against Philadelphia. So he's overcome that. But 49er fans, you've watched his team this season deal with the offensive injuries, not able to overcome it like Detroit. Right now it goes down. No Christian McCaffrey. The Trent Williams situation over the last couple of weeks. But going into year 4 of Mr. Irrelevant's contract next season, what is he worth? 505-246-0610. You keep that thought because we're coming back. We're talking about Brock Purdy. We're looking at the future. And another quarterback that we can talk about, too, is Sam Darnold. And it's not just Sunday Night Football, but it's the postseason run. Will that change the Vikings' decision? Is their decision already made at quarterback? What a Week 18 is going to be in the NFC playoff race when it comes to the number 1 seed. In the AFC playoff picture, too, it's that wild card, man. Everyone's loving Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. They're favorites over the Steelers right now. But the Broncos are still in a win and get in situation. And they're going against a team in Kansas City that could play their backups. That's still not a given. We got Lobo basketball tonight at Fresno State. Kenny Thomas, the Lobo legend NBA veteran, is going to join us at 9 a.m. And you can get involved all morning long. 505-246-0610. You can catch us on ProView Networks, Adrian producing, and also right here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66, built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
I'm David C. Chavis, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico.
Wasn't me. But if you did, you know it feels good. You a fantasy player?
You know, I tried to be, and my issue was I always would forget to change my lineup on Thursday.
Gotcha.
So I would, Sunday would hit, and I'd wake up like in the actual football mood, ready to make some changes, and then I'd see that guys were locked in that had bye weeks, locked in my starting lineup. I'm like, yeah, this isn't for me. I need to set alarms or, reminders. I'll try again next year. Also, I'm too biased. It's really, really hard for me.
That's the beauty of fantasy football. Like, play how you want. It's supposed to be fun, but yet it takes over your life and it makes you miserable.
Yeah,
that's what it does.
The first time I played was in middle school, and our class had one, and I didn't really know how it worked. And this was 2008, we'll say, more like 2009. And Dallas had Felix Jones. Remember they had Felix Jones and Marion Barber. And this was
I'm drafting Jones, Barber, Tony Romo.
Yeah, it was the first year Barber
Miles
was gone.
Austin.
Yes, I loaded them all.
Jason Witten. I'm just starting the Dallas Cowboys.
The whole Dallas Cowboys team was starting. So.
That's okay. Play fantasy the way you want.
Unless
Enjoy
there's money
it.
involved. There's money involved. Listen to JJ.
Well, I don't know about listening to me, but we try. Definitely have some fun with fantasy. And you know how it is. The leagues, you're talking smack. You're going at your friends. The last place punishments, everything that's on the line. So if you're a fantasy champion, congratulations, because that is something I strive for. When we were having this conversation, buddies and I on our fantasy podcast, and I legitimately brought up the question. I'm like, would you want your team you root for in real life to win the Super Bowl, or do you want to win a fantasy football championship?
Depends. It depends. If the reward is greater than $500, like I'll take it.
Well, for me, in the main league I've been in for over a decade with some of my best friends, like that's my goal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it? Yeah, I've watched the Broncos win a Super Bowl 2015.
Yeah.
I was 9-10-year-old when they had the John Elway years, so I remember that was at a Super Bowl parade. So I've seen it. So I'm not someone that's a long-suffering sports fan.
Well, you're really good at not showing your cards then, because this is the first time I'm realizing that you're actually a Broncos fan.
Oh,
yeah. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a compliment to you. Yeah, I didn't know. You're lucky. Yeah, you got to see the Broncos win.
Really, there's that. I was talking about one of my friends is a Dolphins fan.
Yeah.
The other one's a Jaguars fan. Some of my best friends. So, they were like, yeah, I'm probably going to want to see my team win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
There's something about that fantasy championship. When you're in one of those leagues, like when it's not just what's online, of course, if you happen to have a couple extra cookies that come your way at the end of the season. But, if you're in it with your good friends, you've done it for a long time. Like, yeah.
I bet the reward from winning, I haven't
like me
lost.
that I would get more out of that than watching my team win a championship.
Yeah, if I had like some tough fantasy losses and I really had invested in a team and they lost,
It hurts, man.
Maybe the next season I would feel the reward from winning one. So then maybe I'd be like,
it's the weirdest thing. You are
feel like a genius, I'm sure.
Well, you base your weekend emotions on getting talent, right? You put talent together. It's just you figure out, all right, who's going to have a good weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the luck of dudes playing a sport, staying healthy, and you get all up in arms about it. But I still love it. And if you're a fantasy champion this morning, congratulations. Good job, good effort.
I got a real good question.
Yes.
So say week-to-week basis, would you rather your team win or your parlay hit?
Oh, it's got to be parlay. Because one parlay changes everything. That's the feeling you're chasing forever.
Yeah. Fun fact, the first time I put an entry in on Prize Picks, actually, it wasn't even it was Underdog, actually. It was Underdog. And the first time I ever put in entry on Underdog, I needed like $400 to pay off the last of my college balance so I could register for classes. And I'm like, I'm old.
You got it through.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to ask Dad. I'm 23. So I was like, I'm just going to see what this Underdog app is. And I hit the first time. I hit
playing with fire there, man.
Yeah, now I'm just locked in. Like Underdog has paid my tuition forever.
That is why it's not just sports betting. It's anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's why there's casinos everywhere. That's why Las Vegas looks the way it does, because we've all had that one moment. That one moment. Some of you out there, if you're great at it, congratulations.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that are much deeper in the sports betting that do it on a consistent basis. But there is a reason these buildings look the way they are. These sports books look the way they are. Because you're all just chasing that one moment. Whether it's that they had a good night at the card table, the dice rolled your way one night.
Yeah.
You're chasing that adrenaline rush.
You're locked in.
And it still has you chasing that moment.
Yeah, it does. It does. I'm forever in debt. You paid my college tuition, Underdog.
Then you can take the rest of my money after that.
Yeah, you got me.
JJ Bucks A. Johnson with you this morning, 505-246-0610, Sports Animal Hotline and text line. So the Detroit Lions looking good. We know them. All gas, no brakes. But on the other side, so the question is, how's the elbow? Right, with Brock Purdy. But also, how much is he worth? And at some point, and it's on these franchises, the next one can't be the biggest one.
Yeah, we got to stop that.
You can't be paying good quarterbacks great money. It just can't happen. It's a bad business model. And then you have to look yourself in the mirror and go, oh, why are we struggling? It's because you had a good quarterback that took advantage of you in negotiations. It's you look at the recent contracts. Tua's good. But does he need to be making $53 million per year? Does he need to have a contract that's worth $212 million? Well, it's just what you do for quarterbacks. Well, at some point in time, a franchise is going to have to ask themselves, is it worth it? And Brock Purdy is that next example. And if Brock Purdy was doing this as a former first-round pick, would the conversation be different? I do think that's a fascinating question as well. If a former first-round pick takes the team to the Super Bowl, has them on the cusp other years, and this year, all right, it's an up-and-down struggle. You look at the team overall, they hit issues. Are we just saying, yeah, absolutely, this dude's a $60 million quarterback? Or is it the fact we're still hung up on him being Mr. Irrelevant, so you feel that, I don't think you can pay him? I just look at it and go, I like Brock Purdy. I don't think he's ever going to be viewed as the top 5 quarterback in the league. So I can't make him one of the 5 highest paid guys in the league.
Yeah, no, I think the formula the 49ers have, or what they just did, is what they need to continue doing. I think we see, like, if I'm San Fran, you don't pay Purdy all that money. And I keep dropping Dylan Gabriel, but there's other guys that'll be deeper in the draft. Why not continue to create the Avengers, which is what Brock Purdy was the head of, the Avengers last year. I mean, if they go and pay him, their window's already closing. Their Super Bowl window that seemed very, very likely a couple years ago, even really 4 years ago, has been slowly closing every season. And now it's as closed as it could possibly be. It's just cracked open. And if you pay Purdy that money and you don't allow yourself to put a solid team around him, then they're going to be in the same position. So I say go get a rookie quarterback and continue to build around that quarterback.
So you say rookie quarterback. I say start the conversation at a lower level, baseline, and I don't know if this would be too insulting, which, hey, if you get all up in your feelings and you say, all right, Brock, have fun and see if someone offers you $60 million in the open market. Yeah. Even quarterback needy teams. Because we just saw what happened with Kirk Cousins and the Falcons. They gave him $90 million guaranteed, coming off an Achilles injury. And you could argue, well, even in the short time, Brock Purdy has done more than Kirk Cousins, if you're just looking at playoff success.
Yeah. Although Kirk on that 49ers team,
that could be out there.
Yeah, that would be
Kirk Cousins could be a conversation to be a quarterback for the 49ers. Absolutely, because the Falcons are going to cut him. But in deals where I would start, baseline, Baker Mayfield contract, which is an absolute steal right now. So Baker Mayfield, when he re-upped in Tampa, $33 million per year, $100 million contract, $40 million guaranteed. That's not going to get it done for Brock Purdy. No. I think his representatives are going to be like, hold up. Look at the numbers and the success. So are we talking Brock Purdy and Kyler Murray territory, which would make him a top 10 paid quarterback? So Kyler Murray right now is working on $46 million per year, $230 million deal. Like, to me, that would be kind of the ceiling I'd go with Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
If I'm San Francisco and I believe in him and just say, hey, I don't want to have a question mark moving forward. Yes, it's a little bit harder to do things when you pay your quarterback, but that's still the world you live in the NFL. You got to get it done.
Yeah.
But I think that would probably be my ceiling with Brock Purdy. And then after that, and if he's like, man, this is my time to get the biggest bag ever. Okay, now he's still under contract next year. So does Brock Purdy hold out and not play when he's just making last pick of the NFL draft money? So there's a lot to this discussion. Like, San Francisco doesn't have to extend Brock Purdy. But when you have this conversation now, it's what you're talking about is, okay, if one of these veterans comes on the market, do we want to do that 1-2 year veteran, then see what's next? Do we push Brock Purdy in the fourth year of his contract without negotiating? What does that do with him? Does it risk a holdout? Do you even care at that point in time if you're San Francisco? And then it's, all right, the future. You have to start retooling around the edges. They paid Brandon Ayuk a bunch of money. He immediately got hurt. Ricky Pearsall, they drafted him in the first round. So you know that, all right, they're making a move when it comes to one of the wide receivers. Deebo Samuel's out. Christian McCaffrey at this point is just the biggest question mark ever. You're going to be able to get anything else out of him after what his body went through this season. But it does start with, all right, do you feel confident enough that Brock Purdy, if you are able to work out a deal that doesn't make him a $55, $60 million quarterback, that him, Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch can continue to build that roster who can compete over the next 4 to 5 years? Or do you have to make the move? And now there is all right, how serious is the elbow injury? And that could also change things for San Francisco. But 49er fan, you watch this season, you know where Brock Purdy stacks up. He's good, but there's levels to this. And I can't make Brock Purdy a $60 million quarterback. No. Because then who do you start feeling like? The Dallas Cowboys too, right? And making Dak Prescott that quarterback and now trying to answer those questions. So where does Brock Purdy fit moving forward? Because you look at how these teams are playing, and they're not necessarily elite guys. What Detroit built with Jared Goff, what the Vikings built, and then inserted Sam Darnold in this season, are getting the best season of his career. 505-246-0610. The future of Brock Purdy is what with the San Francisco 49ers? We come back on the other side. We will start to look forward to tonight's contest, Lobos and Fresno State. Early tip-off for you. It's going to be 6 p.m. Mountain Time on the UNM Sports Radio Network. Robert Portnoy, Hunter Green on the call, and the Lobos have to take advantage of this schedule early in the season. We'll dive into that next here on The Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Take advantage of it. Stack the wins. And for Lobo basketball, the schedule to start conference play was favorable. You get your first win in Colorado Springs, Fort Collins, not Colorado Springs. Women were in Colorado Springs on Sunday, and the men were in Fort Collins on Saturday. So your first win in Moby Arena since 2018. Start 2-0 because, yes, you had that conference game back on December 4th. We held off a pesky San Jose State team at home. And then you go into Fresno State, a team that hired a high school coach this offseason. Yeah, they're thinking outside the box.
I'm guessing he had a lot of state championships.
He was a very successful high school coach in the Fresno area.
Okay.
And this is an era where you're thinking high school's almost on the back burner when it comes to recruiting at the Division I level.
Yeah.
But, Fresno State trying something different with Vance Wahlberg. Well, what happened last few weeks? Well, their leading scorer, Amir Oligard, who was the JUCO Player of the Year last season, he's no longer on the team. After the teams lost to Cal Baptist on December 21st, Coach Wahlberg announced that Oligard and him had talked before the game, and it was a mutual decision for them to part ways. That's not great. You're Fresno State. Your leading scorer is gone. And the Lobos go into Fresno tonight, 15.5-point favorites.
You know, isn't it? It's nice. Now, I'm new to being a Lobo fan, but it's really nice to, when you're going into these games, even when they played VCU, I was comfortable. You know, no part of me thought, oh, hopefully, you know, they don't lay an egg here. But it's nice to go into games having a team that's as solid as the Lobos are and favored by 15 points. You know, it's getting to that point where I think Vegas is starting to give the respect. We're just waiting on those rankings to drop.
Well, it's in sports, and you know this, you know, being an athlete, if you start overlooking someone or something, you get got. Yep. Now, you can look at the New Mexico game, and the energy is just different. It's a rivalry game. They come into your place. It's a packed house. And New Mexico State rose to the moment.
Yeah.
You know, pushed you back. And this is completely different. Like, you're going into a building, it's going to be empty. It's New Year's Eve. And in Fresno, everyone talks about that arena. And you're like, man, it feels like an NBA arena. Yeah, it feels like an empty NBA arena. If you're there for men's or women's basketball. And that's a challenge. The energy ain't going to be there. It's a game where it's not, you know, a Christmas break upcoming. But you've been on the road for a few days, and it helps that it is in between semesters. So it's just a long road trip. The Lobos go up to Fort Collins, stay on the road, go to Fresno. And this is a nice time to have one of those long road trips when you don't have classes going on.
Oh, yeah.
But it's about just your mental focus, the mentality, trusting yourself. And you're starting to see that develop with the Lobo basketball team. And it is the rotation players stepping up. Now, CJ Nolan, after the game on Saturday, was talking with Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal. Shout out to Jeff, saw him in the airport on Sunday. He's coming back. Nice. I'm covering that game. We ran into each other. I'm like, hey, look at this. Drink. CJ Nolan, after the game, said, quote, I would just say we're flowing better. I would say we're getting more used to each other on offense. I think that players are getting comfortable and knowing what they're doing with their shots, where their shots are coming from. And I think we just had a good flow. And that's what we've discussed, right? Is the role players growing into their expectations, understanding, getting experience. It's sports. It still takes time. Even when you have a team with high expectations, there's usually players in new roles, especially this era. You're not returning 4 or 5 starters. That is incredibly rare. Now, what the Lobos returned was a really good core. They have Donovan Dent, Nelly Jr. Joseph, and Mustafa Amzil. Really set the tone. And that's why they've been able to be successful to this point in the season. 10-3, 2-0 in conference play. And then watch these players going. Even a player like CJ Nolan. Hey, he's a senior transfer. He comes in, he's voted a team captain. But he's playing on a team with different expectations. They're asking different things out of him. He started at the 3, he started at the 2. He's come off the bench at those positions. And you have to get comfortable in your role. Borovichinen, he's a junior, but he's a junior that didn't play a lot of basketball. So he's coming in into the starting lineup, trying to get his confidence, trying to figure out how to flow in the offense. It takes time. And to be 10-3, 2-0, with moments where this team wasn't getting a lot from anyone else in the rotation, it's a good place to be. And I've become more confident in watching this team play with their style of play, the defensive moments that they have. Offensively, knowing that, yeah, you're not a lights-out shooting team, but the efficiency you can find from the perimeter, playing inside-out basketball, having someone like Donovan Dent who can score inside, set up his teammates, like you're starting to check all those boxes on the development path to live up to expectations. And you look at the Mountain West Conference, what Utah State is doing. So Utah State, Boise State, New Mexico, 2-0 starts. Before the Lobos, They have to feast on this moment. Friday night is still going to be a tough game, regardless of what happens tonight between Utah State and Nevada. Nevada's a 3.5-point favorite in that game at home in Reno over Utah State. Utah State just beat San Diego State. But Steve Alford, the Wolfpack, coming in Friday night, 1,000th game in the pit. But it's opportunity for New Mexico with Fresno State. Nevada home game. You go into Laramie, and Laramie is another one of those tough places to play. We just saw Nevada lose that game in Laramie last Saturday before you host San Diego State at home January 11th. The Lobos have to take advantage of this schedule. It's favorable. Stack those early wins, and then you have those big-time head-to-head contests against San Diego State, Boise State, Utah State. It feels like that's going to be the race, along with Utah, the 4 teams, right, in Utah State, the race for the Mountain West Conference, right there. So 505-246-0610, Sports Animal Hotline and text line. This morning, we have Kenny Thomas, the Lobo legend, NBA veteran, joining us at 9 a.m. this morning. We'll talk about his thoughts on stacking those wins early in conference play, finding a way to bring the energy in a game like tonight at Fresno when it's going to be empty. Earlier start than usual in Fresno because, yes, it's a New Year's Eve game. And then we have some big NBA storylines we're going to hit because, of course, Kenny Thomas, one of the teams he played for in the NBA was the Sacramento Kings. Michael Malone, former Kings coach, went off on the Kings after they fired Mike Brown last week. We're going to get into that topic and just how organizations handle those things and where the Kings are going. Because it wasn't long ago. Now we're looking at Sacramento and going, man, this is one of those Western Conference teams on the up and up. Watch out. They're going to be a yearly playoff contender. And they just fired their coach. It's opening drive here on the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro View. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on Pro View Networks.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area.
With Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Tim Boyle,
with injuries,
Tommy DeVito, and he missed some games.
Yeah, he had injuries.
So he played. So in 14 games so far to this point, 104 catches, 1,100 yards. You got Roma Dunze, still 52 catches, 3 touchdowns. He was the 9th overall pick. Brock Bowers, rookie tight end record. Fasting Ditka. Mike Ditka. 108 catches, 1,144 yards, 4 touchdowns for Brock Bowers. Same thing. Minshew, O'Connell, Desmond Ritter. How about the best wide receiver that no one's talking about in the first round? Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah.
Goes to Jacksonville out of LSU. Starts catching passes from Trevor Lawrence and catching passes from Mike Jones. 10 tutties on the season, 80 catches, 1,100 yards. Xavier Worthy got hot. the last couple weeks.
He did.
First round pick. Had 6 touchdowns, 59 catches for the Colts. Ladd McConkey, over 1,000 yards. It's the first time in NFL history 4 rookies have gone over 1,000 yards. It's Brock Bowers, Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, Ladd McConkey. And then you look at guys that have had smaller moments. You know, Keon Coleman right there. Yeah. Ricky Pearsall, good game last night.
Mm-hmm.
Dude got shot before the season started.
Right.
First round pick for the 49ers. But you feel, all right, he's going to have a tremendous role in that offense moving forward. This rookie offensive skill position class has a chance to be ridiculously special.
It does. And you know what the funny thing is I think, number one, yes, they have that chance. But then I think this upcoming draft class can come on right after and eclipse them. I think when you look at the offensive talent in this upcoming draft class, really just overall talent, I think you're going to have a little 2-year pocket here where there's elite talent.
Yes. And another player I was wanted to talk about too is Jalen McMillan, 3rd round pick. We've seen him over the last few weeks become the number 2 receiver for Tampa Bay. He's up to 7 touchdowns.
Wow.
And he wasn't playing a lot early in the season. He was a 3rd round wide receiver out of Washington for Tampa Bay. This was a special offensive class. And we haven't even talked about who was the first wide receiver selected, because it feels disappointing because of those 4 other guys that have gone over 1,000 yards. Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
He had a fine rookie season. 822 yards, 7 touchdowns, only 57 catches. But when you're seeing the level those other guys went to, it feels disappointing for him. But this offensive draft class for 2024, this could be one we talk about for a very long time. We come back on the other side. How are you feeling about Boise State? Are you rooting for the Broncos? CFP back in action tonight. First of 4 games over the next 2 days. Penn State, Boise State, who has the advantage? It's the opening drive here on the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gala Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD and the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bach.
Bowl season continues, and the college football playoff is back. Alabama, Michigan, sounds like that should be a playoff game. Well, it's a ReliaQuest Bowl, where Alabama is a 16.5-point favorite over Michigan. You go Louisville, Washington, down in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl in El Paso at noon. You can hear that game on the Sports Animal. South Carolina, Illinois, the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl.
I love that comeback music, by the way. That's my favorite one.
A little bop to it.
Yeah, a little bop in
a little
it.
Bump. Baylor, LSU, Kinder's Texas Bowl, and then Penn State, Boise State. Well, the team that got the bye, the 3 seed, the Broncos, they're 11.5-point underdogs. The Verbo Fiesta Bowl. They're in Glendale, Arizona, State Farm Stadium. Penn State, Boise State. So how you feeling? Just a college football fan about the CFP and bowl season, but Mountain West fan, you're one of those jilted lovers, a little jealousy. I'll admit, I've been that. Talking about Boise State. A lot of it, too, is just the attitude with it. You understand the deficiencies that the Lobos have had, but there's just a sense of, why would we fly to Albuquerque? Not just football, but any of our teams. Why would we need to go to Albuquerque, New Mexico to play? All right, Boise, slow your roll. But here they are, and they are representing the Mountain West Conference. They're not flying that Pac-12 banner yet. It's the Boise State Broncos from the Mountain West against Penn State. 11.5-point dogs. Now, this game, it's can they control it? This is all about Boise State controlling the line of scrimmage. Yep. So Ashton Jeanty has been that dude. 2,497 yards, 29 touchdowns. The entire defensive game plan is try to take away Ashton Jeanty. Here's the thing with Boise State, man, and Bronco fans try to say it all season long. It's like, yeah, we also have the best quarterback in the league. No, you don't. Got a good one. Maddox Madsen. But he ain't making plays downfield. He didn't have to. I understand that. But he ain't that dude. If he has to be that dude, do they have enough? I don't think they do. It's a line of scrimmage, controlling the football. Can they slow down Penn State on the other side? I know Penn State's not a team you necessarily think about themselves about explosive plays, but they do rank 9th in yards per play because of the efficiency. They probably have the best tight end in college football in Tyler Warren. Yep. They lean on their run game Singleton, and Allen. So they have a 2-back system. So it's 2 running backs and a tight end, efficient offense from Penn State. In Boise State, it's easy to get caught up in Ashton Jeanty because he has been awesome. He has been phenomenal. The dude, it was him versus Travis Hunter all season long. But in the college football playoff, it's what else do you have? Mm-hmm. And we could see the deficiencies for Boise State is what else do they have offensively in this game? I don't think they're going to have enough. But when you're looking at this matchup, how are you feeling about the Verbo Fiesta Bowl?
I mean, you hit it right on the head. The only way Boise can win this one is controlling the line of scrimmage. You know, it's not like they're built like the Lions where you have Amon-Ra St. Brown up there and then Jared Goff to make it really hard to pack the box. So if you're Boise State, you want to control the line of scrimmage, but the cheat code is if the quarterback and a receiver can get hot. Because if they get hot, now you're forcing Penn State to put some guys in coverage, you know, and you're biting a lot more in play action if Jeanty's going and having a good game. But if they're able just to have drop back passes because they're worried about a receiver, you know, I don't know Boise's roster the best, but I feel if they had a receiver that would force defenses to take their attention off Jeanty, we'd know his name.
Yeah, that's a great point. And here's one for, you know, Maddox Madsen, their quarterback. So the biggest games they played, it was Oregon and UNLV twice. You know, the best teams they played this season. He completed 53% of his passes, just 9.7 yards per completion in those 3 games. And you know, here's the line too, what you were just talking about. So Cam Camper is kind of their number 1 receiver.
Okay.
He averages 15.2 yards per catch.
I'll never forget that name again.
Cam Camper. But here's the thing with Boise State, you know, reading some of the rundowns and putting these notes together and watching Boise State this season, this line really stood out to me. It said, but if he doesn't make a big play, no one does.
Yeah, Boise State, I'm seeing here 9.7 yards per completion. That's a high yards per completion for 53% passing. So it's all adding up. They're big plays. And if they're not the big plays, you know, I watched him earlier this season, the Boise State quarterback. He was putting the ball in harm's way. It's another thing that absolutely can't happen versus Penn State.
Yeah, and it's all about, this is the total control game. Can you find the explosive play from Ashton Jeanty? Because that's it. That's everything for Boise State. But are you able to survive a few empty possessions? Because that's probably going to happen. If you're not able to create plays out of Ashton Jeanty, that Penn State defense honing in on him, and people will look at the Oregon game, and rightfully so. Jeanty went off against Oregon, who is the number 1 seed, who has been the best team in college football. So that is there. But this is also a different level of pressure.
It is, and also Oregon, as good as their defense is, they don't have an Abdul Carter over there.
And who is Abdul Carter if people don't know?
He is the next coming of Micah Parsons, the way it appears. Abdul Carter, number 11 for Penn State, linebacker who's going to line up on the line as well. And yeah, he's speed, he's sideline to sideline. He's going to be putting pressure on Boise State. They're going to have to find ways to take him out of the game. You know, and they say that a lot of times the best way to handle guys like Abdul Carter is to run at them. So run plays at him, but that's got to be in the game plan, because if you're just expecting Jeanty to break 4 tackles in a play and still run for a touchdown, you've got the speed that Penn State has on defense, you know, you might be in for a tough one.
Yeah, they're going to run at him. I'm really interested to see if the play action game, maybe Madsen out of the pocket, some rollouts, things like that, try to get him on the move, because that's the challenge for Boise State. They're going to have to find a way to create some explosive plays outside of Jeanty. Jeanty is awesome, and you give him the ball as much as he can handle. But I'm also looking at that Boise State defense and how long can they handle a couple empty possessions. Because if you're going to try to shorten the game, control it, and play until that explosive play happens, I feel that it's going to lead to a couple empty possessions for Boise State.
Oh, yeah.
And so how does their defense hold up against a Penn State team that, again, watch them. There's very few teams that kind of wow you, and that's what happens when you get to 12. Right? There's going to be holes on some of these teams, but still, you talk about their defensive speed overall. It's a different level. It's probably the best they've seen since that Oregon game.
Yes,
for Boise State. But then the offensive efficiency of where it's a two-back system, they have their tight end. They're about efficiency overall, and it's can you survive that if you're Boise State? I'm interested in this matchup. I'm also interested in just how you feel because the Broncos are still flying that Mountain West banner. They're the Mountain West champs, yet they're 11.5-point underdogs against Penn State in the Verbo Fiesta Bowl tonight. 505-246-0610, the Sports Animal Hotline and text line for you this morning. When we come back on the other side, we'll look at the other 3 playoff games, which are tomorrow. And are there any upsets brewing? Got Notre Dame and Georgia, Ohio State and Oregon. And are those Ohio State receivers talking, Zay? They're talking. Texas, Arizona State. What are those Buckeye receivers saying when it comes to playing the Ducks again? We'll get into that next. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
The yellow.
CFP tonight, the Robo Fiesta Bowl, Penn State, Boise State. How are you feeling about the Broncos out of the Mountain West? 11.5-point dogs. The Nittany Lions. And then tomorrow kicks off Texas Arizona State Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Longhorns are 13-point favorites. Then you have Ohio State Oregon Rose Bowl. 2.5-point favorites for OSU. The Buckeyes favored. And then the All-State Sugar Bowl wraps it up. Notre Dame, Georgia, or the Dogs, are 1.5-point favorites. And the Buckeyes are feeling good. They're confident. Yeah, they had a 1-point loss in the regular season. 32-31 in Autzen Stadium in Eugene, Oregon. Their freshman receiver, he's chirping. Freshman, he's chirping.
No shocker.
Jeremiah Smith, he said on Monday that if Oregon chooses to play single coverage on him or any Ohio State receivers, he said, quote, I'm just laughing in my head. Why y'all really playing man-to-man against us, or against me, I should say. And when we see man against any of our receivers, we're going to take that shot downfield. Now, this freshman, he's backing it up. He did have 9 for 100 and a touchdown at Oregon. Against Tennessee, he had 6 catches, 107 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So this is a freshman that he can back it up. But does it surprise you that the Ducks are dogs in this situation?
No. And honestly, I like it. One thing Dan Lanning has showed me, as I even go back to last year when they were getting ready to play Colorado. In Colorado, the hype train was at its peak. And I saw how personal he was taking things. And I saw his mindset when he saw this bracket be released. And I know 100% he's in their ear this week. Like, you guys are underdogs, you guys. So any sort of worry that I could have about them coming off a bye week and, you know, maybe thinking because they're first that everything's going to be handed to them, I would much rather them be dogs, because I know they're going to come out with a chip on their shoulder. And Jeremiah Smith also, he's setting that same table. If I'm an Oregon defensive coordinator or even an Ohio State offensive coordinator, first off for them, I'm like, hey, be quiet. Don't leak the game plan, because now Oregon defensive coordinator, it's super easy to show man, cover 2. You know, now you can trap them. Okay, they see man, they're going to try to take a shot deep. Okay, we're going to make it look like man, and we're going to be in zone, and we're going to bait them. You know, that's what good teams do. Oregon, they're obviously a great team. So I would feel a lot more worried if they were favored in this game. I would be.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That you feel worried if they're favored. Now, I think either way, the Oregon mindset is good.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that would affect them either way. But it's easier when you put that on the board.
Yes.
Saying you're the underdog. Look at what the world thinks of you. You're the number 1 seed. You're undefeated. You beat this Ohio State team. Yes, it was only by 1 in your house, and now you're in the Rose Bowl, the neutral site. But for Ohio State, it's going to be, can they stay consistent? And you've talked about it a lot. And I do think, you know, Dillon Gabriel, where this new era of college sports, and this is kind of new era of just thinking about players and their potential, age is not a negative anymore.
Nope.
He's 24 years old. He's been in college for 6 years. He's had a redshirt season. There was that COVID year. And he's taking advantage of it, man. He's climbed the ladder. And you look at where he's at. So we saw Cam Ward in the first half. So Cam Ward, Miami quarterback, right? He set the FCS and FBS record combined with 156 touchdown passes in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. But Dillon Gabriel is 3 touchdown passes away from Case Keenum's FBS record of 155. So Dillon Gabriel has been successful at every stop.
Yes.
And you've talked about him a lot. And this is where I lean into Dan Lanning and Dillon Gabriel as just the steady presence for this team. And it was an absolute quarterback showcase when these teams matched up in the regular season. Gabriel was 23 of 34, 341, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Will Howard for the Buckeyes, 28 of 35, 326, and 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, if your freshman wide receiver's chirping, if Dillon Gabriel is talking about age is not a negative. Like, I'm expecting these offenses to do their thing. The question is, can either of these defenses make a play to change this game?
Yeah, I do believe so. And I'm looking here at the scores to refresh my memory. But keep in mind, when Oregon played Ohio State this year, originally, that was really the game where we took Oregon serious. They were ranked high, but they were not winning in typical Oregon fashion. So when you come into the Ohio State game, that's when they raised to the level of competition. But like, we can't ignore the fact that Oregon got much better after Ohio State. They kind of how we've seen the Chiefs, if it continues, slowly get better over the season as they kept winning games. That's how Oregon was at the beginning of this season. And then after the Ohio State, they started actually dominating teams. So I think that, number one, Oregon's defense will do a better job on Jeremiah Smith. And also, I think Oregon, they're just a better team than they were when they originally played Ohio State. And Ohio State was ranked second at that time, and Oregon was third. So I like the way it's looking for the Oregon Ducks. But Ohio State, of course, you can't scoff at them. They got two great running backs. Will Howard is a great quarterback, and they do have a stacked team.
Yeah, this should be the best game.
Yes.
When you just look at head-to-head talent in the quarterfinals, Oregon and Ohio State. And the Buckeyes, 2.5-point favorite. So that's the afternoon special for you tomorrow in the Rose Bowl. The day kicks off with a 13-point favorite in the Texas Longhorns against another underdog that got a bye.
Yeah.
And this is Arizona State. And what they were able to do is being one of the highest-ranked conference champions, so getting that 4 seed and that bye into the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Now, Quinn Ewers said he's feeling a lot better, coming up, having a few extra days to rest. And this is a Texas team that did beat Clemson 38-24, and Clemson missed the cover play late in that game from a 4th and goal situation. But Ewers, since the injury, which he suffered a couple weeks ago, he led Texas to a win in College Station over A&M, 17-7. They then threw for a season-high 358 yards in their overtime loss in the SEC title game. Did help them beat Clemson, but if he's feeling better, that's good because he's been struggling.
Yeah.
Because since that ankle injury he suffered, 62% passing, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So he's turning the football over. And then you look at Arizona State, and it's Cam Skattebo. All right, it's Cam Skattebo, who is probably the most underrated running back in the country. Ended up finishing number 5 in Heisman Trophy voting. But we're talking about a running back that had 1,500 yards rushing, 19 touchdowns, caught 37 passes for 506 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Sheesh.
It's going to be similar to what we see out of Boise State.
Yeah.
Right? Is they're going to lean on their running back, try to be physical, create explosive plays. But Texas is showing you just the overall talent. I haven't been all in on Texas because I've had some questions about the quarterback play.
Yeah, as you should.
And if you keep telling me you want to see Arch Manning, we need to see Arch Manning, well, Sarkisian's not doing that. Quinn Ewers is the dude for this team.
Yeah, they tried that versus Georgia the first time.
Quinn Ewers is going to decide what happens with Texas. It's not going to be Arch Manning. But I still think overall, when you see Texas as 13-point favorites, it's the talent of this team. And it's easy to get caught up in the quarterback storylines because everyone just wants to see Manning, right? They're thinking it's the next coming. It was Payne, it's Eli, it's going to be Arch. But this is an overall Texas team that is really good. And kind of all the things we were saying about Boise State of having to survive, find some explosive plays, win the line of scrimmage. Well, you have that for Arizona State, but then just a better overall team, too, on Texas.
Of course. A better overall team. With Arizona State, I like the Boise State comparison. That's going to be, the same situation. But I do think Arizona State's got a lot more on their plate than Boise State might have. I wouldn't put that line. I wouldn't put my money on that line. But I can see why as a 13-point favorite. Texas is way more talent. Arizona State, top heavy. But it's been a good season. Kudos to Arizona State, but I would be shocked if they pulled out this win over Texas.
And speaking of shocked, how's Georgia feeling? 1.5 point favorites. They're on their number 2 quarterback. Remember the SEC title game, Carson Beck got hurt, and he's done.
Yep.
And so it's Gunnar Stockton, who's a third-year sophomore. He's played sparingly, but he did come in, go 12 of 16, 71 yards, 1 interception in the SEC title game against Texas, and they won. But we know the overall talent of the Georgia roster.
Yeah.
So Stockton has had a lot of time to prepare. They had the bye, but the door is open for Notre Dame. Like, this is the opportunity for the Irish. If they beat Georgia, I think they're in a national championship game.
Ooh.
I think they can go knock off Penn State or Boise State. I mean, in the national championship game. Now, Stockton, yeah, he's a talented kid. He's the back quarterback. But it is a little bit different.
It is.
And that's why it's only a 1.5 point spread. Georgia is a more talented football team. But for Notre Dame, Riley Leonard is an athletic quarterback. They run the football. And you hear kind of the theme that we're talking about for these teams that are the underdogs. Win the line of scrimmage, shorten the game.
Yep.
And I do think that Notre Dame can muck this up enough to where this is a game in the fourth quarter.
It's been a long time coming for Notre Dame. I know they want it. Know they're hungry for it. Stockton, like you said, it's different, especially when it was college, because these guys, coaches love to say everyone's on scholarship. Yeah. And I expect Stockton to come in and impress some people, but I believe Notre Dame's going to win this game. I think as time goes on, you're going to see the experience play a factor.
And experience, is that going to be a difference maker in the CFP? Boise State, Penn State tonight. Broncos, 11.5 point dogs. Texas, Arizona State. Texas, 13-point favorites. Ohio State, 2.5 point favorites over Oregon. Number 1 seed in this whole 12-team playoff. And Notre Dame and Georgia. How are you feeling about the CFP? Are you flying that Boise State banner tonight, given the fact that they're still in the Mountain West? It's still the Boise State Broncos of the Mountain West Conference. And speaking of Mountain West, Lobo basketball tonight in Fresno to take on Fresno State, 5:30 pregame over on News Radio KKOB. 6 o'clock tip-off with Robert Forney and Hunter Green. Coming up at 9 o'clock, Kenny Thomas, Lobo legend, NBA veteran, going to join us in studio. We're going to break down that game on Saturday, his thoughts of the Bring Your Own Energy game for the Lobos tonight, and, of course, some NBA headlines to hit with Kenny Thomas. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
And I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making
FM and AM 610, the sports animal.
Bowl season, CFP season, a lot of questions come up in it. I think what we're seeing is everyone was on the same page and no one really losing their minds. And that's the Cam Ward situation. So Cam Ward, the quarterback at Miami this season, transferred from Washington State, went out there in the Pop-Tarts Bowl last Saturday, and he set the FBS and FCS record at 156 touchdown passes. He passed Case Keenum. We're just talking about Dylan Gabriel, the chance to do that for Oregon tonight, the FBS record, so not combining any FCS stats for Gabriel. But Cam Ward sat out the second half of that game. And Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are in discussion to be the first two quarterbacks selected in the NFL draft. Now, Iowa State went on to win a game 42-41. And, a couple people out there saying, that's what's wrong with this system. Dude's sitting out. Dude's not finishing. I do think the transfer portal being open right now hurts this sport. I do wonder, why even play then? Like, at what point in time is your season over?
Yeah.
Like, so that's my thing. If you don't want to play in a bowl game, people say, well, they're meaningless. They're just exhibition games. Okay, well, why is week 8 or 9 matter if you're not going to win a conference championship?
That's a good point.
So, like, at what point do you draw that line? Because people love to look at bowl games and say, well, they're dumb and they're meaningless and these dudes don't play. Well, why are they playing week 9, 10, and 11? Just to get bowl eligible. What's the difference there? So I do think there is some fairness to this and just saying, hey, all right, if you opt out of a bowl game because you want to focus on your future, okay. I think Miami, the way they handled it, it wasn't a surprise. It didn't shock anyone. They planned for Cam Ward to go get a record and sit the second half.
Yeah.
They were okay with that, and I'm fine with it. But I just do think you look at the overall question of bowl season, the transfer portal now is, well, why are you playing those other games then? To get bowl eligible, but then the bowl game's meaningless and you don't want to play it. Because, you got to get in the portal. You got to chase that next check. Well, I guess, what's preventing you from, your team has a 0-3 start to the season. And you just cash out then. I just wonder. Now, the system's going to have a little more clarity to it when the revenue sharing kicks in, if that goes through the House settlement. You've heard that probably. What is it officially? Well, it means that schools will get into revenue sharing. That schools can officially pay their student athletes themselves. And that's where you're going to have to combine your NI collective with your school, and maybe you have some more transparency in this because you need that, man. I get college athletes. You want to be compensated. You want name, image, and likeness, but you can't have everything with no accountability yourself.
Yeah.
You just can't. There's no professional sport where you can do that.
Yeah.
You sign contracts. You have contracts. Yeah, you can hold out, but then there's penalties for you holding out. There's absolutely nothing putting a little bit of pressure on the student athletes. And I do think that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and you see in professional, it's not like it's the same for, the NFL, NBA, when a team can just release you at any time. In college, you're on scholarship. And if they do just cut you and there's no reason, there's repercussions for that. So there's accountability on the school's end. So I think it should go that way on the player's end too. In college, you're seeing players have more freedom and they have more power than the schools do.
Which,
at this point,
having choices is fine. But at some point, you have to stop comparing student athletes to everyone else.
Yeah.
Because they're living in a different world now. They've separated themselves. They've been separated from the regular student. I hear that all the time. Yeah, students can transfer all the time. Well, yeah, but it's okay for what reason? Well, students can take other jobs all the time. Okay. But we're also not getting gigantic NIL payment. We actually have to show up to work that Subway shift.
Yeah.
To work that Jersey Mike shift. So student athletes have separated themselves. And I'm one that I like the transfer portal. I'm fine with players not sitting out. But they have to figure it out. Like the NCAA has to figure out how to rebuild this, because this is semi-professional sports in a college setting. It's what it is now.
Yep.
But where I get frustrated, if you don't want to play your bowl game, okay, understandable. But why then? Like with the way that a lot of these athletes are acting, like why are you not cashing out after week 5 if your team is 1-4?
Or even worse, what if they go reverse and it's like, okay, what's the point of all these bowl games if no one's going to play in them?
Yeah.
If no one cares, why have them?
Like at what point do you just stop caring about the season? Like if you're Travis Hunter, you could have legit just came into the season, I don't want to play. I'm going to be a top pick anyway. Yeah. We see that happen with
Micah.
Basketball players. A lot of times. You don't know a lot of these guys. They're like, well, I'm going to go to the G League, or I don't need college. Okay. But that's just my biggest thing. Is like, what are you playing for? At some point in time, yeah, you want to be fairly compensated in this environment because you can. But are you not a competitor? Isn't there a part of you that you're a football player? You want to play football.
Yeah.
You're a basketball player. You want to play basketball.
It crossed my mind earlier. If you're a competitor, you should just want to be out there. It's anything else, I think it's selfish.
But all this system has done is make you look for what's next immediately. And you don't do that anywhere else. And I think college athletics has a lot to clean up, a lot to figure out. Because then you also get situations like we're seeing at Florida State, what's playing out now, where 6 former Florida State basketball players, they filed a lawsuit on Monday against their former coach, Leonard Hamilton, over unpaid promises of NIL compensation. And that's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's just another one where now you're dealing with this mess because it can't, the school can't have anything to do with it. You can have name, images, likeness, but the school can't have anything to do with it. Coaches can't have anything to do with it, but they're talking anyway. It's a flawed system that it can work and you can still have college athletics. Money's a part of it. That's why teams are flying their Olympic sports from Los Angeles to New Jersey because of media rights deals. So at some point in time, even the student athletes, you've won, right? But is this the world you want to live in as a student athlete?
No.
Like where, you're just cashing out for that next check and acting, well, everyone else can do it. No, really, they don't.
Yeah, they also don't. They don't have as much of a reason. Like the reasons why a player would want to switch schools is not going to be the same reason why a regular student would want to leave schools.
Like you're getting the benefit of it, but this system, it's going to change the world for college athletics. Right? It might get to a point where you lose passion. I know a lot of you have already lost passion, but there's a real reality that in a few years, that global football is playing on a different level. Or are you going to be able to embrace that when there's that new division of college football, which I think is going to come, because that gap is just going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
You already have a ridiculous gap that you're pretending that you're a Division I team against these other schools. The thing to me is going to be, can you salvage college basketball out of all this? Those big schools already want to take their ball and play with themselves and keep more of the mid-majors out. So can you salvage college basketball? Because the March Madness is still a gigantic moneymaker.
Oh, yeah.
So there's enough there. But there's just so many things. Like your mind just starts bouncing around. And you see this Florida State story where those 6 players are suing Florida State. Yeah, because there was false promises that weren't made. And allegedly there's text messages. So they have a lot of evidence in this. But it's like, what do you expect, man? Like you went out there and you got the rights to make money in this system. But then and I don't know who you is, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know who you is when we're talking about the NCAA. I don't know who it is for these student athletes. You got what you wanted, but then you think, like I'm at a loss for words right now.
It seems like a give them an inch to take a mile situation.
Because I'm like, what do you want from any of this? Like saying, well, I just wanted my money. Okay, but then you didn't want accountability because you sued for everything. And so you left the wild, wild west system and you think that every one of these promises is going to get fulfilled when it's not revenue that's coming in. Like, you're asking people to pay your salary. You're asking the fans to pay your salary and thinking you can get away with everything as a student athlete. And while I'm a student athlete, yes, you work hard. You should be compensated in this system the way it's exploded. But you're still asking the fans to pay your salary. And there's no accountability on the back end. You're cashing out before bowl games. You're in the transfer portal because you're just chasing that next check. You're like, well, everyone can do it. No, they don't, man. You want to be a professional athlete? That's not the way it works in pro sports. You sign a contract.
Mm-hmm.
You honor that deal. You want to hold out, have your contract negotiations? Cool. Guess what? There's fines that come with that. There's none of that in college, and I don't know how it's ever going to get reeled in. So we're going to see lawsuits of failed promises because these collectives are begging fans to pay the salaries of these student athletes. And on top of that, you need the donations to the school. You want them to buy season tickets. Oh, and by the way, all your good players are going to be gone. Like, it's a frustrating system. And the question I have is, what's the end game for everyone? Because what if this system collapses in on itself? What have you really benefited from? Of not having discussion. So yeah, you've pushed for name, image, likeness. You push for free transfers. Okay, well, where's the accountability on your end saying, hey, we want contracts. We want this stuff to be out there. We need the universities involved. We need accountability on all ends, from the collectives, from the players, from the coaching staff. There's none of that right now in college athletics.
Yeah, contracts. I mean, to me, it's the elephant in the room for all this. And maybe, depending on, the different fears that a different program can have, you can put different things in your contract. I don't think it should just be some, one certain contract that every single team goes by. But I think that, depending on the college, like say if a player signs a contract that says he can leave before the bowl game and he leaves, then there's no bitterness to go with it because it was in his contract. So I think all of this needs to be tied down, stapled down with contracts. And a lot of these, these what ifs that worry the college football fans moving forward with the way the system is, a lot of that gets not put to rest, but you move forward, you take some steps forward in making sure that this thing doesn't fall apart.
You got to be willing to build a new system, and the student athletes have to be willing to participate in that.
Yep.
You've got your advantages. Now, how are you going to help this system be better and grow for the future student athletes, for the future of college athletics? Because there's a lot of questions. I don't know if they're ever going to get answered because everyone is just scared of losing a lawsuit in court right now. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Think It Up. Think
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company.
Ranting and raving. We got Kenny Thomas coming up next, diving into Lobos at Fresno tonight, and his thoughts on the last two games. VCU and Colorado State, full 40-minute performances for the Lobos, and they have to take advantage of this non-conference schedule to start. Stack those dubs, and then grind away at the race for a Mountain West title. 3 teams 2-0 right now. Yes, San Diego State lost to Utah State, but they're still in that mix. I think it's a 4-team race for Mountain West regular season title. It's a game in Fresno tonight. Bring your own energy. Get it done. Kenny Thomas, the Lobo legend, NBA veteran, scheduled to join us coming up next. Also, a lot of NBA topics to dive into, from LeBron James to his Sacramento Kings and how they handle their coaches. JJ Buck, Zay Johnson, Adrian on ProView. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Helping our clients with their safety needs.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All In Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. Turbo Threads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. Turbo Threads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for Turbo Threads.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch Mexico's best.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Adventure is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Try this shit better than all my intentions.
light-skinned shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bach.
The opening drive here at 95.9 FM AM 610, the sports animal. Merry New Year. Happy Christmas, everyone. Wrapping up 2024. One more hoops game for the Lobos in Fresno. It's a bring your own energy game. Everyone talks about the arena. They're like, yeah, it's an NBA arena. It's an empty NBA arena. It's big and it's going to be empty. Lobos are 15.5-point favorites tonight. And that's 2 games in a row. VCU, Colorado State for 40 minutes. Lobos controlled the game. They're the better team. They're looking good. They're hitting their stride. And how can they stack some dubs with a favorable conference schedule to start? And we have that big marquee game, January 11th. San Diego State comes to town. Joined by the legend, Lobo legend, NBA veteran Kenny Thomas, who's rocking the beanie. The Texans.
Oh, they suck.
Well, they have to play better.
My team sucks. Yeah.
Well, it allowed you to probably watch maybe a little more NBA action on Christmas Day with Baltimore destroying the Houston Texans. But
dang, calm down. You don't got to use the D word. Destroy.
What happened? What happened?
Man, it was the second lowest points that a franchise has scored in NFL history. That's sad.
There's always a chance.
But we got Stephon Diggs is out. Tank just went out.
That was rough.
That was huge, man. Yeah, that hurt really bad. But there's been some injuries. That's part of how it goes. But yeah, they suck.
Well, there you go. There's your Houston Texans breakdown. But they are going to the playoffs. They'll host a home playoff game.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. I mean, in any sport, there's a regular season. You never know what's going to happen, and then you got to play decent or pretty well to get into the postseason, right? So when the postseason starts, everybody that's out there listening, you should know it's a whole different game because anybody can win on any given Sunday. I love that movie with Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, that's a really good movie. And you look at it, it's the process, right? It's a growth getting there. But a team like Houston Texans, there's ups and downs they have to deal with. For the Lobos, it was players growing into their roles this season. Even if you're an experienced player like CJ Noland, you're coming into a new spot where they're asking you to do different things.
Yeah.
You look at Philip Borovichinen. He hasn't had that opportunity yet in his career. Lobos come in and say, hey, you're a starter.
Yeah.
Some rough patches early. But we're seeing this team get confident, grow into their roles. And I think the last 2 games, we've seen start to finish full 40 minutes from the Lobos.
Colorado State was one of those games to where I felt like they needed to go in there and make a statement, especially opening up conference play on the road. Obviously, you can't forget about San Jose State that came in here right before New Mexico State, before the Lobos got that L. Not to bring that up, but that still hurts a little bit. San Jose State is the team that's favored like in the bottom of the 6 through 8. And they came in and they gave the Lobos a fight at home. But this next one is one of those ones to where they cannot take lightly. Obviously, Fresno State, after the Colorado State game, I think they were 5-8 and something like that. I think they're on a 3-4 game losing streak.
And so they're 4-9 overall, 0-2 in conference play.
See, so these are the ones that can scare you. These are the ones that can creep up on you, especially I don't think there's going to be anybody in the building, right? Probably. It's the holidays and different things like that. But the Lobos got to bring that energy. I'm not saying all of them. Somebody's going to, I've been saying this, somebody's going to have to be that person that's, hey, we need to come together. Hey, what's happening? That person that can get everybody's attention and be like, hey, we need to figure out what we're doing because we can't continue to play this way, right? It's just not Dent. That's the one that's supposed to be the guy because he's the scorer, right? I don't care who it is. It could be a guy that's not even playing, right?
How does that work?
Which
like
part?
Trying to be that guy where you don't try to get up there and say something that everyone's like, why is this guy talking right
Yeah, maturity, man. In the locker room when I played for the Lobos, Royce and Clayton were those guys. Charles Smith and myself were more on the quiet side. I would go out there and show it when I played, but I mean, sometimes like they would have to. Clayton and Royce would get in my head and piss me off, right? And they know what they're doing. It's not one of those things to where, hey, I'm gonna go fight those guys. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, hey, we're a team. We're a unit. We're together for 4 to 5 months out of the year, right? To where we get a chance to play basketball on a national stage, to get an opportunity to be able to go make some money. Now they're making money NIL, right? So, but the end goal is to be able to play professional ball somewhere. So overall, man, I like Phillip. I like the way the shift, moving him to the bench. Hey, sometimes that happens, or vice versa with like CJ coming off the bench and he's inserted himself into the starting lineup. But I think Pitino's trying to find, where's the scoring going to come outside of Dent? Where's the scoring going to come outside of the backcourt, right? Because I feel like the backcourt has been a big part of the production side when it comes to the offense, right? But you got Amzil that's playing pretty good basketball right now, had a good game against Colorado State. So I want to see Amzil mix it up a little bit, go in the post.
I agree. I think he's better when he plays inside out.
Oh, yeah. It's one of those things, man. It's like when you get yourself going, if it's on the outside.
Yeah, if you hit early shots.
Yeah, but
go with it.
Hey, you got to go with the flow of the game. You got to take what they're giving you, right? You can't determine, hey, I need to go out here and shoot a 3 to get myself going. Hey, play the game. And if it's one of those things to where you got a driving lane and then it's cut off and you can knock down a mid-range shot, I mean, come on, man. That's always a high percentage shot if you can't get to the rim, if you don't get fouled. But Nelly, I'm expecting to see him play a little bit more on the offensive.
In Colorado State, 9 points, but he had 11 rebounds.
Yeah.
You mentioned, Amzil had 14 points. Donovan had 14 points, 6 assists. Borovic 10 points. So you have that trio, right? Yeah. It's going to be Donovan and Nelly and Amzil, and then fill in the spaces.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Dent, Amzil, Nelly. It's been a up and down kind of thing when it comes to CJ, True, and those other guys. I feel like if they impact the game on the defensive side, which is what I love, what Pitino is pushing, because defense wins games. It's gonna transition over to the offensive end, because if they're limiting second chance points, which they did in the last game, as far as against Colorado State, they came out and dominated on the defensive side. They were playing great passing lanes, but it's gonna be one of those ones to where the New Year's ending. You got January 1, 2025 coming up. You could get a little lackadaisical and feel like, hey, we're supposed to go into Fresno State and win, as you should, and you're a 15-point favorite, like you said.
And you look at this stretch, you get your first win in Fort Collins since 2018.
That's crazy.
So that was big, and it's kind of similar. It's all right. You go into Fresno, you have to handle your business. Nevada is going to be a crazy game anyway, because it's game 1,000 in the pit. It's Steve Alford. It's a Wolfpack team that's off to a slow start, and they actually could be 0-3 when they come in, because they have to play Utah State tonight.
Ooh,
Utah State hit that go-ahead 3-point shot on Saturday, knocked off the Aztecs. So I still think it's a 4-team race. Nevada, could they be in an early hole? It's possible, but you look at the Lobos, right? This is a chance. Stack some early wins, take advantage of Fresno State, Wyoming. That's on your schedule, a home game against Nevada, but a couple of those places, they're landmines, right? Going into Laramie. Nevada just lost in Laramie. There's just something about some of these places where it's easy to get caught off guard.
Yeah. I mean, you could totally look past this Fresno State game and think about Nevada this coming weekend, because it's a big game, right? It's probably going to be another sellout. But you need to figure out how to get better before your next steps if you're willing to progress. I mean, if you're willing to see progress is everything, because that turns into tremendous upside and confidence, right? And then if you go down there on the road and you beat them convincingly, which I think they should, and they're going to. Yeah, I said it. Yes, I'm very confident, but you still can't take them lightly. There's a thing about being confident and taking teams lightly. but you have to go in determined. I like the fact that how Patino played 10 guys last game, and I feel like everybody's getting a fill because he's gonna need his bench, and I like the way he's mixing it up based off of personnel. You gotta keep that in mind.
I agree,
too.
and it's just a growing into expectations. Like you have, freshman and Jovan Milicevic in 5 points in 15 minutes,
But he hasn't gotten a lot of minutes.
no, but it's okay. You see, all right, if you need a little, if you in the front court, Tiki's going to rebound, just be a guy to block shots. Jovan might be able to get you a couple buckets, so you're starting to see as a coach where you can go in your rotation at times.
He's young. Jovan's young. Yeah. AJ Bramley texted me during one of my show. AJ Bramley, he's here local, went to La Cueva, my boy. He said he should get some more minutes. I feel like he probably could, and is he gonna play inside? I don't see him as a guy that's on the perimeter right now.
Could you play him at the 4?
You could, but I don't think that's needed. I think rebounding is needed, right? I feel like they have a decent amount of scoring in the backcourt. Why do they have to have another big that's on the perimeter? You know what I mean? They need to figure out how to impact the inside and take advantage of mismatches. This is where Amzil comes in. This is where Jovan comes in. This is where Tiki comes in. Tiki comes in and brings energy and dominates the boards. When the Lobos are not allowing second chance points, they are getting out and they're running. And transition pick and rolls, man, it's one of those things that I felt like that has been impact. That should have been impacted early, but as they progress, like I said earlier, they're starting to do those pick and rolls in transition because that's going to open up Dent so much more, especially coming down the hill.
And two, you look at the development of just Donovan Dent. We knew he was that steady guard, but then we see him drop 40 points in a game and be aggressive, but still know he's the facilitator. Even with the high expectations, and you're looking at Donovan going into the season, going, all right, you're the guy. What have you seen from him stepping into that role?
I've seen his jump shot get better. I've seen him take over games as he should. And I don't mean that in a bad way. He's just that guy that the Lobos depend on, especially when it comes to scoring. Coming off pick and rolls, I feel like teams are going to start to double him more. And then guys are going to have to space out and figure out Dent's going to have to figure out how to get those guys the ball. Him coming downhill off a pick and roll, it opens up the weak side big to be able to get a lot of points, man. So I feel like that 4-man or that offside big that's not in the pick and roll is going to get a lot of opportunities. That's where Amzil comes in. Jovan, those guys need to rebound. And Den is a leader regardless. He's just that guy. If Den isn't scoring, which is what I've been talking about my last couple shows on Lobo Live after the post-game show with Rob and Hunter, that it has to be a situation to where things just have to be able to shift and things just have to happen a certain way. I lost my thought on that one.
So December 1st, 1966. That was the first ever game played in the pit. So when we come back on the other side.
66. I was born in 77.
But 1966 was the first ever game played in the pit.
Did I hear you laughing in the booth, man?
Hey,
You've been
man.
Quiet. You
Careful.
I like
the
correlation there.
Hey, I'm proud of my age. I'm 47.
Yeah. And you helped establish that building. You were a part of that program being what it is. And we come back on the other side. I want to get from you again, because you've talked about it wasn't necessarily a Lobo game that showed you how special this community was, this building was, that got you to come to UNM. But now that we're looking at 1,000 games in that building, what that has meant to this community, to this state. We're going to talk about that, plus some NBA storylines with KT, Kenny Thomas in studio. It's the opening drive here on The Sports Animal.
Dirty Boys present Fill in the Hole.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it.
make my heart better. Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I give you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make it.
Hey, night, we can look ahead to Nevada. Steve Alford coming in. Wolfpack, they have some work to do after dropping a game in Laramie over the weekend. They are favored tonight at home over Utah State. Nevada's 3.5-point favorite. And Reno over the 12-1 Aggies. But what a game that's going to be Friday night. It's going to be game number 1,000. That's Kenny Thomas, the legend, Lobo legend, NBA veteran. And you're just a legend everywhere, man. What you're doing in the community, your work with everything. You just had the Holiday Jamboree, another term, a second one.
Yeah. So me and my boy Josh Kearns, if you know him, we came together a couple years ago, right? So we've been doing basketball tournaments for the last few years. He brought me in. He already established everything. So we partnered up together. Thank you, Josh. And then next thing you know, we have Zia Academy. So we started our basketball program with a group of girls that he has, right? Because he coached them at the city of Belen, at the high school and middle school. So we started that, our AAU program, and that's growing. And then next thing you know, here we are. We did our second annual Holiday Jamboree. Thank you, Kingmaker. Thank you, ABC. Thank you, There's a Gym in Corrales. And thank you, Garfield. Thank you, APD. Thank you, Will Ferguson and Associates law firms for sponsoring. It was great for kids. We had about 50 teams. It's growing. Everybody loved it. We had teams from all over the state. We had some kids come up from El Paso, Texas. So man, giving these kids something to do during the holidays. It was good. It was Friday,
fun.
Saturday, Sunday.
Good competition.
Yeah, and then I show up and I sign a ball for the championship for the teams that won the championship and the runner-up, and then I take pictures with them. And then, hey, if you want to check out the pictures, you can go to my social media, Kenny Thomas NBA, check out all that stuff.
And giving back to the community. And the community, it shows out. And
always
that building, yes, it might be a little more famous than the basketball teams at times, but it's what helps make Lobo basketball what it is. So December 1st, 1966, New Mexico defeated Abilene Christian.
Wow.
62-53 in the first ever game in the pit. And Friday night, it is game 1,000. And, of course, the storylines. Steve Alford coming back. You're trying to build your early season resume in terms of stacking some of those conference wins for the Lobos. But your first experience in the pit was what?
Man. Oh, yeah, we got to take it back, obviously.
Not that far.
Laughing. Yeah, see, I knew something was coming out of that.
Knew he was talking now.
I was just about to say it. Man, Albuquerque High, 18,000 people was my first moment in the pit when I won a championship in the pit. That's when I decided, hey, I need to come to New Mexico. This is when I had 18,000 people at UNM. The whole time I was here, we were ranked in the top 25, obviously, all 4 years I was here. But, man, you got to think about those guys, Mel Daniels, Michael Cooper, Luke Longley. Those guys are before me. And then next thing you know, I decided to come here. Charles Smith, Clayton Shields, Royce. Man, we had a squad. You got, and then you got John Robertson, and then you had John Starkey. Yeah, we had some good guys, man. So there's a lot of memories. I'm looking forward to hopefully being at the game this coming Friday. The energy, I know is going to be hype in there. I know it's Steve Alford, so everybody's going to come out. But you got to tune into the game and support the guys tonight because they got to bring that energy tonight. And the fact that you said Utah State beat San Diego State. San Diego State is picked in the top 2, I think top 4 in pre-predictions for conference, and then you had Utah State that was right in the middle. So with that said, you can obviously see that the Western Conference is not as bad as everybody says it is, and you never know what's going to happen on any given night.
Absolutely. You got to be ready to go. But you mentioned conferences and the NBA, a team that's the bottom of the Western Conference, and it's been frustrating. It's Sacramento Kings.
Oh, Jesus.
And they fired their head coach, Mike Brown.
Oh, my God.
And, all right, it's disappointing. But was that the move to make if you're Sacramento? And I want to not just get your thoughts on that, but could this be an organizational issue? So Michael Malone, he was fired by Sacramento, right? He went off last week, and he said, quote, "So I'm not surprised that Mike Brown got fired because I got fired by the same person."
Just to let you guys know, he would bring this up. He is a Nuggets fan.
And what really pissed me off about it was the fact that the Kings lost last night, 5th game in a row. Tough loss, fouling a jump shooter. So they had practice this morning. Mike Brown does his media. He's in the car going to the airport, and they call him, and that's when he's fired. Yeah. And then Michael Malone says of Sacramento, the organization, no class, no balls. That's what I'll say about that. Is this an organizational issue, or is it Malone with him and his feelings because he was fired? Or did they need to make a change at head coach?
Man, there's a lot of different things going on. As you know, and if you didn't know, I did NBC Sports California live TV for the Sacramento Kings, not last year, but the 2 years before that, when they brought in Mike Brown. Mike Brown came from the Warriors. He came in, they had a pretty decent season the year he came in. I think they made the playoffs, lost to the Warriors. And then next thing you know, the next season he's coach of the year, and he gets a new contract for 3 years. Sacramento right now, trust me, it's in an uproar right now because everybody's like, what? I think they just went through a bad patch of basketball, and guys have been hurt. There's probably a piece or two that they're probably missing. Not that the Kings is a bad organization. It's not. It's one of those things to where I think they're trying to figure it out. But I don't think the part was firing the head coach. Like, even though he's a friend of mine, I don't think that was the play to go, especially just winning Coach of the Year, man. It was a unanimous decision, Coach of the Year, but it's one of those things. They went up there and they lost. I think they lost to the Lakers. D'Angelo Russell just got traded.
Yep.
The Sacramento Kings just go back home and they beat the Dallas Mavericks last night, I think 102-93. Without Luka, without the other like top 2-3 guys, but it's a matter of them trying to figure out where they go next, because it comes down to the players. And then when things are going bad, obviously you know who goes first. The coach goes first. So yeah,
they do, and it does feel like a little bit of a overreaction. So yeah, it's a slow start, and you're a team that with Sabonis and Fox, you go out and you sign DeMar DeRozan. You have high expectations, but it's the NBA where 10 teams get a chance to go to the playoffs. Like there's still an opportunity, and it feels like maybe it was a little bit too soon.
Yeah,
and now you have to figure it out.
Yeah, you got to figure it out. Doug Christie, he's very intelligent. He's a great guy. I feel like he's going to do a great job, but I don't think getting rid of Mike Brown was the answer. See, the thing about it is that when you bring in a DeMar DeRozan, he's a guy that's used to having a ball in his hands, right?
Yeah.
And then you have Fox. This is my opinion. Then you have Fox and Sabonis that they always have the ball, right? And then everybody else kind of plays off of them. Keegan Murray. Last year he had a pretty good game. I mean, pretty good season. But where is he at? Been this year? He's trying to figure it out, because there's only one ball, man. And it's a matter of playing a role, but it's been a struggle, and I feel like the Kings will figure it out, just like the Rockets figured it out. But there are rumors out there that De'Aaron Fox might be going home to Houston. I don't see how that's going to happen.
Well, and Houston's backcourt's pretty good.
Hey, I don't see how that's going to happen.
VanVleet and Green.
Yeah.
Then you look at where's Houston? They're the third seed in the Western Conference right now, man.
Exactly why I shifted to the Rockets.
21-11. Let's not talk about those Kings right now. Let's talk about those surging Rockets.
Yeah, they're playing really good, man. The way that those young fellas are playing, they're playing good ball like Kansas City. When you got Alexander out there, right? And that young core that's building. You got to figure out how to keep these guys together. Obviously, with the salary cap being like $160 million right now. Back when I played, it was like 50 for 15 guys. But the Rockets didn't show up in the in-season tournament because I felt like they could have played a little bit better in that semifinal game. But they obviously the way that they came out and they're still playing and being a good team that's growing. It's going to be interesting to see how they are once they get to the postseason.
Yeah, but you look at who they're competing against. Memphis, with Ja Morant back this year, they're 22-11. The Mavericks are right behind them, 20-13, and it's a new look Western Conference at the top. OKC, number one.
Yeah, and you got. I mean, the Western Conference is tough, and it's always been tough. You got the Kings in the 13th spot, and anything can happen. I mean, watch out for them Lakers. Them Lakers are playing some pretty good ball right now, man.
Dorian Finney-Smith, 3-and-D guy.
Oh yeah.
Fits in. He's a good catch and shoot guy.
Oh yeah.
Bring him in.
Obviously, the game is about mismatches, man, and about spacing, and guys got to knock down shots. That's the biggest part of the NBA. I want to see the Lobos shoot another like 48%.
Yeah.
Tonight. You know what I'm saying? I know.
Get it going against. That's all right.
But yeah,
have one of those efficient games.
Yeah, I want to see them shoot a high percentage and play smart. If they play smart, Fresno State can't stay with them.
All right, lastly, before we get out of here today, so LeBron finally did turn 40 the other day, and he was joking he could play 5 to 7 more years. The dude could be a grandpa playing in the NBA.
Yeah.
But
hey,
LeBron turning 40, joking he's going to play 5 or 7 more years. Who knows? But he also went off too, and the NFL is taking over, man. And they played on Wednesday. Yeah. So Christmas, doesn't matter what day it is, the NFL is going to play. Yeah. And the NBA was trying to own that. But the NFL is king. LeBron took some shots at it. But if you're the NBA, you just got to keep grinding, right? Keep pushing for your moments.
See that it's all about money, obviously, right? And it's all about growth. You got the NFL that's overseas. You got the NBA that's looking at going overseas now, which is going to kill those European leagues when it comes to the NBA, right? And I'm pretty sure, I don't know about football, but I'm assuming they did the same thing overseas, right? But it's man, football's football. It's America's sport. And I just had this conversation the other day. I was like, what? When I heard the numbers, that football obviously outshined the NBA, and the numbers are down, and you got KD and everybody like going and saying, hey, as far as the viewership, it's just one of those things. I was surprised that there was a Christmas game, NFL, but hey, it's about that revenue, man.
Get that money.
And my Texans got their ass.
Get that. Hey, there's still an opportunity. They're going to host the home playoff game.
Terrible.
We got Lobos live tonight following
Appreciate
New Mexico, Fresno State over on News Radio KKOB. And Kenny Thomas, NBA on the socials.
Yes, sir.
And people can follow what you got going on.
Yes, I appreciate that. And KT Legacy Wines, Albertsons, if you want something for the holidays. I got
Get it for
reds.
tonight. Bring in the new year.
Oh, I like you already. I got get you some. 2 reds, 2 whites, and I got some more stuff coming. I got a champagne coming, an almond champagne, and I got maybe a Riesling and maybe a Moscato and some other stuff. But yeah, man. Hey, I'm diversified in there in the booth, man. You have no clue. Yeah, and out there, looks like I'm doing a Cinco de Mayo basketball tournament, and my big Memorial Day tournament is on. That's the one we have about 220 teams. Last year we had about 25 gyms. Yeah.
Popping.
Stay tuned, man.
Put that on the calendar. Follow this, man. He's got Lobo Live tonight. Merry New Year, man.
Yeah, so the game's at 6. So the game will probably be over about 8. Robert and Hunter with the post-game show probably be done about 8:15.
Yap for a half hour.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, and then we'll probably go on about 8:30. So call in 505-243-3333 or text me.
Gotcha. Kenny Thomas. Talk to you on Friday, man.
Appreciate you, my guys.
It's opening drive here on The Sports Animal.
The Sports Animal is your home for Lobo women's basketball all season long.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
They take the air 10 nights. You can listen to KT break down the game, and of course, call, text over on News Radio KKOB. Sports Animal Hotline and text line is 505-246-0610. Your JJ Bucket, Zay Johnson with you this morning. All right, Zay.
What's up?
I'm going to put you on the line a little bit. Mm-hmm. So Jeff and I, we do this thing throughout the season, the 3-for-all, where we pick 3 NFL games we like, spread over under,
okay,
and track our record. And Jeff is blowing my doors off this season. So you and I, we're going to do a little CFP quarterfinals.
All right, let's do it.
Against the spread. All right? So whether you like the over-under, you just want to take the number, 4 games. And we'll take the totals. And we'll start tonight. Penn State, Boise State. So Penn State, 11.5-point favorites. The over-under is 54.5. And while you answer that phone, I'm going to give you my pick on this game. You know what? I'm going Penn State and 11.5 points. And I know it's a lot. I don't think Penn State are world beaters. I just look at Boise State, and when everything is going to be about Ashton Jeanty, explosive plays, I think he's going to get a couple runs. He might have a good game. But I can see Penn State winning this game by 12 points. So it's a big line. I'm taking Penn State minus 11.5. What are you doing when it comes to Penn State and Boise State?
You know, am I allowed to also pick it with you?
Okay. If you like Penn State minus 11.5, you can go for it.
Yeah, I also think that Penn State will win by more than 11. I think as good as Jeanty is, you can't, unless it's a quarterback, one star of the team can't just take out a juggernaut. Not in college. Maybe for a game in the NFL. Maybe some random game throughout the college football season. But not Penn State. And not in the quarterfinals when they're going to, they're laying it all on the line. Penn State wants it. They want it bad. I know they're still not happy about that Oregon loss. So they're playing with their hats on fire. I'm going to take Penn State.
We both got the Nittany Lions and that big number tonight.
Yes.
11.5. All right, tomorrow, 11 a.m. kickoff in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, where Texas and Arizona State, the Longhorns, are 13-point favorites. Over-under is 51.5. What do you like in that game?
I'm not going to take the line on that one. I think Arizona State, I think Texas, sometimes they get in their own way. Sometimes they hurt themselves. So it may not necessarily be something that Arizona State's doing, but I do think Texas will give them more opportunities than we expect. And I think this game will be closer than Vegas expects. So that's going to be my hot take.
You're going to take 13 points?
I'm not going to take 13.
Okay. So what are you going to take there?
I would like it a lot better at like 8, 7. I think it'll be a close game.
Well, you taking Arizona State plus 13 to cover?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Arizona State plus 13.
Mm-hmm.
Solid number. I do like that. I on this one, man, I'm kind of feeling that. I'm going to take the over on the total.
Okay.
I'm going over 51.5 for this game. ASU, Texas. But I do like the plus 13. I do. I'm with you. I was on Clemson, and, man, I missed out there late in the end. They had the cover play. 4th and goal got stopped. But I'll take the over 51.5. All right, I want to go to – I'm going to leave the Oregon game for last.
Okay.
Because I know that one has all your focus. Notre Dame and Georgia. That's nightcap tomorrow in the All-State Sugar Bowl. Bulldogs, backup quarterback, but time to prepare coming off the SEC championship game for Gunnar Stockton. Notre Dame beat Indiana by 10, but they controlled that game. Bulldogs are 1.5-point favorites. Over-under is 45.5. I'm taking Notre Dame. Plus 1.5. I'm taking Notre Dame to knock off the Dogs.
You know, I'm going to switch my decision from earlier, and I'm going to take Georgia's 1.5 there. I think Georgia's going to cover. I think it'll be close at the beginning, but I think Georgia's defense will make plays, and I think Stockton will just do enough. He's not going to be the star of the game, but I think it'll be a good team win for Georgia and also a statement win.
Yeah, they should be the better team, talent-wise, over Notre Dame. But I'm going the upset with Riley Leonard, the rushing quarterback, to make some plays on the ground for Notre Dame. All right, Ohio State and Oregon, the big game, the one that has the chance to be the best game of the four. Of course, one game tonight, 3 tomorrow in the CFP. And it's number 1 Oregon. They're dogs in the Rose Bowl against Ohio State. So Ohio State is a 2.5-point favorite. Over-under is 55.5. What are you taking from this game?
It'll be over 55.5. I strongly believe that because Oregon's going to score their half of that, and Ohio State's not going to get blown out. You know, so that's going to go over. And, of course, I'm taking Oregon to win this game. I'm taking them to win. I think they're better than they were beforehand the last time they saw Ohio State. I think, obviously, the way Jeremiah Smith is – he's talking, and I think Ohio State, they think they're going against the same Oregon team, and they're just not. It's not the same Oregon team. They're better. They've been rested, and a lot like what I say with the Lobos, with Coach Pitino, I think they have a good head of the ship. So I think that they are going to have the right mindset. I don't worry about them coming out flat like Dallas likes to do with McCarthy. It's my biggest knock on him. I think their coach is going to have them riled up and ready. Them being dogs solidifies that because I'm sure they feel disrespected after being, you know, the number 1 team and you're an underdog and your first playoff game is insane. But understandable.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I'm taking the over in that game. Over 55.5 points. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think both quarterbacks are going to look really good when it comes to Dylan Gabriel, Oregon, Will Howard of Ohio State. So I'm taking the over. So our picks for the CFP. We both have Penn State minus 11.5 to cover tonight against Boise State. So you have Arizona State plus 13.
Yes.
Versus Texas. I took the over in that game, 51.5 points. You went Georgia minus 1.5. I took the dog, Notre Dame plus 1.5. And we're both over 55.5 points for Ohio State and Oregon.
And if it matters, I want to take the under on the Penn State total points.
That as a side bet there for you on the under. 505-246-0610, Sports Animal Hotline. Terry, you're on the opening drive. Good morning, Terry. How you doing?
Good morning, JJ. Good morning, Isaiah. Happy New Year to both of you and your families. And above all of you be safe tonight so we all can start the New Year's and do well. But, you know, and have a good time, but be safe. I'm just going out. I'm throwing a Notre Dame-Ohio State final. Not really into Notre Dame due to the fact that I still think they screwed up college football by getting their own TV deal, not joining a conference. But I just thought I was going to avoid the 4 byes, not because of ASU or Boise State. I actually went to ASU for a semester one time and couldn't hack it financially. But I hope both Boise and ASU play good games so people don't just freak out. If bowl games aren't important, maybe don't fire coaches when your team's bowl eligible, like West Virginia fired their coach even though their team was bowl eligible. Lobos, yeah, my son was in town. One of his close buddies, we all went to the game. We were sitting in the TCU section. You know, great experience. I know Jeff did a great job. Wish 2 teams would have showed up. Even the TCU fans kind of, by the second half, kind of kicked back. But I know he puts on a great show and everything like that. So even when people don't enter the transfer portal, sometimes the games get out of hand. But it happens that way. Got a couple comments of the year. Cam Ward maybe up for worst teammate of the year. I'm going to play a half and then quit. I thought maybe it's going to be like one of them movies where he jogs out at that last drive and, come on, guys, forgive me. I know I was sitting out and then go down, but now he did it. And, one of his teammates at the end didn't even shake his hand. He kind of acknowledged him and walked away. And I guess the new comment of the year in pro sports was, I guess, Rasheed Morris pulled an Eberflusen in that game. So now I guess anybody who screws up the clock at the end of a game, it's going to be called an Eberflusen. And from that,
take the time out.
Yeah, so it happens, but that could probably cost Atlanta a trip to the playoffs. And
it possibly could. Terry,
yeah.
Happy New Year, my guy. We have to take this break. I'm going to blow up another segment. Appreciate the phone call you got in. It's the opening drive here on The Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Wrapping up 2024 CFP Lobo basketball tonight in Fresno. 15.5-point favorites. The Lobos are over the Fresno State Bulldogs. Fresno State on the season, 4-9 overall, 0-2. Their leading scorer left the team 10 days ago after their game on December 21st. Their first-year head coach Vance Wahlberg says it was a mutual decision, as Amir Alagard, who was the JUCO National Player of the Year last season, leading the team in scoring, 6'5", 220 guard, not on the team. And so New Mexico, coming off that game in Fort Collins, a victory over Colorado State, stays on the road. This is the time to do it easier. Focus on ball, don't have any schoolwork going on in between semesters. Get the job done. And then go to that game Friday night. Yeah, it's a 9 o'clock tip-off, but it's Friday. The Pit is going to be popping. Steve Alford and Nevada coming to town, game 1,000 in that building. And stack those early season dubs. It's a favorable schedule. It's challenging. You go on the road, back-to-back games. You have your one quick stop at home, Nevada, and then you have to go up to Laramie. Those aren't easy places. I've been there. You know what it's like? Going to the Dome of Doom. We just watched Laramie beat Nevada over the weekend. But for the Lobos, this is what you want to take advantage of before that January 11th game against San Diego State. And I do think it's going to end up being a 4-team race. I think it's going to be the Aztecs, Aggies, Broncos, and Lobos for the regular season title. Nevada, they're still favored tonight, despite an 0-2 start, but they're at home over Utah State, and they're 3.5-point favorites. And could they claw back in this race? Absolutely. But again, it's that difference, that early season buffer versus that hole you have to climb out of. And the Lobos have a chance to build a buffer. There's 3 teams that are 2-0 right now. It's Utah State, Boise State, New Mexico. And Nevada's trying to avoid that hole. And work to do tonight. And then that game Friday night at the Pit. JJ Buck, Zay Johnson with you, wrapping it up in 2024 for you. 505-246-0610, Sports Animal Hotline. And text line. Lobo women in action tomorrow. Home game for them. It's a 2 o'clock tip-off. 2 o'clock tip-off out there at the Pit. 1:30 pregame for you right here on the Sports Animal. Lobo women were victorious on Sunday in Colorado Springs, beating Air Force. Got a Nevada team that's coming in that has a good front court in Lexi Givens and Kennedy Lee. Same thing. Lobos trying to get off that 2-0 start because San Diego State, on the women's side, it's been UNLV. Right? Everyone's trying to run down UNLV. They've won 3 straight regular season and tournament titles.
Sheesh. Yeah,
Lindy LaRock is UNLV absolutely humming right now. And they're still good. They're probably still the team to beat, but the Aztecs are nipping their heels. And that game Saturday for the Lobos in San Diego, they're going to be underdogs in that game. So it's take advantage of those early Mountain West games where your Lobos, all right, you're at home. Good Nevada team that knocked you off in the Pit last year coming in, but take advantage of the home games. Then those challenges will present themselves. And it happens to be, game 3 for the women and the Lobo men. Excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. Voice is deciding to go right at the end. The Lobo men have that chance to build before they see San Diego State on the 11th. And then, of course, Week 18. Last night, Monday Night Football, all gas, no brakes. The Detroit Lions handle their business. They go 8-0 on the road. Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Williams, Laporta, Gibbs, all checking those boxes.
Yeah, and what's bugging me, and I've been battling this with my fellow Cowboy fans all week on Twitter, is the Detroit Lions. It's easy to go into detail about like coach and injuries and all this, and even players, but they have a play style that travels. It can work in any weather, and it's really built for road games, especially because when it's a road game, not that Jared Goff's going to get flustered, but you're worried about your quarterback, the crowd noise, things making it harder for the communication with the receivers. When you can just simply run the football, or even a threat of running the football is huge, because now you can run play action. You can do all these different things. Jared Goff, he's a great quarterback, but he's not a guy that should be having more touchdowns and incompletions because of his pure skill. Not even some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time could pull that off. That happens because they have a formula that's really, really tough to stop. Now, they don't have two dominant receivers. They do have a great tight end, but Amon-Ra, all you really need is a good running back, good offensive line, decent QB, and a star receiver. Now, yes, I'm going to shortchange Goff because I'm still bitter with the Lions, how they did Dallas early. So I'm going to say decent, even though he's a great quarterback. But they have a great formula. It travels. It's no shocker they haven't lost on the road. And I need to look at the contracts on that offensive line because Detroit's had a dominant offensive line.
The way Detroit has built this team, like the Goff was just to throw it.
Yes.
It's like, all right, we're getting your draft capital for trading Matthew Stafford. You use that on Penny Sewell, Hutchinson, these first-round picks. Amon-Ra St. Brown was like a fifth-round pick, by the way.
Wow.
And you build a foundation, and you get a guy that took a team to the Super Bowl. You get a guy that can play at a high level. And now we get Sunday Night Football, winner-take-all game for the number 1 seed. Zay, I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for everything. Happy New Year. Adrian, Happy New Year on ProView Network to the entire crew over there. We got bowl games today. Sun Bowl at noon, LSU Baylor following that, Texas Bowl, and Lobo Basketball over on News Radio KKOB tonight. Everybody, be safe. Meta World Peace and Love, and we'll talk to you in 2025.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows.